Hey y'all, Howling with the Wolfe, playoff edition. I know that got to sound good for a lot of Titans fans. Probably won't be able to go as long as normal today. Got to run out. It's a busy week. But let's talk some playoff football. You guys know the deal. Fire your questions away. We'll talk a little bit Titans, Chiefs this week. They play Saturday. Heading out to Kansas City on Friday. So Arrowhead's a cool place to be at. Check out some barbecue spots out there. But I think this Titans team has a chance to win on Saturday. I know a lot of people are picking the Chiefs, and there's a good chance that they're right. But 8.5-point favorites, I think that's a little high in my taste, and I think this Titans team has a chance. And I wrote about it earlier today about why I think they have a chance and what their best chance is. And the locker room has been really good this week and revealing some of the issues that you guys talk about with me as far as the offense, and then what they need to do to fix it. This isn't going to be a complete turnaround. This isn't going to be an open up period, but I do think that Marcus Mariota has the skill set, has the ability to lead the Titans to an upset victory. So check out ESPN.com if you want to see my story on backyard Marcus Mariota and why I believe that his improvisation skills and his ability to make plays with his legs is the key for a potential Titans victory this week. So we just got out of the locker room earlier, and I think one of the more interesting notes, and I'll probably write about this for tomorrow for everybody who wants to check it out, Derrick Henry is probably going to be the lead back once again. Mike keeps telling us that he's not ruling out DeMarco Murray, but from what I understand, it'd be a long shot for DeMarco Murray to play this week. So I think you should expect another Derrick Henry show. And Derrick Henry talked to us probably about 20 minutes ago in the locker room, and he basically said that he didn't feel like a workhorse back last week. It was his first time as a Titans feature back in 2 seasons, but he said he felt soft. He felt like he ran soft. He felt like all the -5 yards, -12 yards, he felt like he basically changed his game, and he said he hated it. He hated how he played, and I think that's sort of a refreshing thing to hear from Derrick Henry, because he didn't play well. And this is a guy who doesn't really express his emotions a lot with us. So this is something for him to be vocal about that shows how much this is, I guess, impacting him and how much he wants to prove that wrong, because all the talk for the last 2 seasons is it should be Derrick Henry. It should be his show. Let's give him the keys to the offense. And the Titans gave him the keys to the offense, and he had a really rough day rushing. Of course, he had that big screen touchdown that probably saved the Titans' playoff chances. But he averaged less than 2 yards a carry as a rusher. He was running backwards too often. He was running sideways. He missed some holes. I think that it was probably Derrick Henry's worst game of the season, and I think that was a game where healthy DeMarco Murray would have been better than Derrick Henry, just plain and honest. But he's got another opportunity this week. I think a lot of it was him pressing. You look at it and you say, okay, it's your first opportunity. You got to show the Titans that I'm going to be the lead back going forward, and you try to be somebody you're not. And he's still a 245-pound back, and I think sometimes he forgets that. So I think this will be a huge week for him. The Chiefs are in the bottom 10 in rushing defense. It's a big week for him to go back to who he is. He's going to bounce some things outside. That's who he is. But there are some areas on 3rd and 1 where he could just pound that thing in. Stop trying to get cute. Stop trying to dance around. You're a little skittish with your feet. Yes, the offensive line has been struggling. They've struggled all year. But the key is to know when a play is dead and when to say, okay, I'm going to just take these 2 yards instead of trying to get 5 and losing 5. So I think that, I think this will be an interesting matchup, because unlike the Jags, this is a Chiefs defense that can be had. This defense isn't sort of the defense of the Chiefs that you remember back in the day. They aren't shutting anybody down. They're giving up points. They could be beating the passing game. They could be beating the running game. So we saw last season when the Titans went up to Arrowhead, they were able to have a lot of success with the read option, with running the ball. And a lot of that had to do with Marcus's legs being a threat, but it also had to do with them running effectively inside. So I don't think they need to give up on running the football. I do think that they can be particularly effective there, but they can't be stubborn in how they do it. I think that they have to realize that teams are going to put 8 in the box. That's when you got to look at Marcus and say, check out of it, or come into a situation that's more effective for the offense. So I don't think that we'll see a complete turnaround for this offense, but I do think that there will be more of the elements of the offense that they do well, which is a little bit more Marcus Smart, no huddle, some more play action, some more of those read options. I think the telling quote for Mike Mularkey this week was basically asked him about Marcus and his running and his scrambling, and he said at this time of the season everybody's got to get everything they have to go. So I think we'll see less of the stubbornness as far as run our scheme, protect Marcus Mariota no matter what, and I think we'll see more of let's do what we can do to win. And I think their best way to win is to let Marcus be a little bit of backyard Marcus. I think a telling quote, and I know everybody kind of overreacted about the Delaney quote saying that you got to overcome coaching. I think I used that quote in the story today, but I think Logan Ryan said a very similar thing in a different way. And he said, basically, he said, sometimes it's not about the X's and O's. Let me pull up the quote because I tweeted it out earlier. He said, yeah, you can't always draw it up. It's not always X's and O's. Everybody thinks we need to run more of this, do more of that. Sometimes it's guys going out there and making plays. And I think that's a refreshing thought period because, yeah, the coaches have probably put them in rough situations. Yeah, the coaches have been a little stubborn in how often they stick to their plan. But why use that as an excuse? Why, these guys are still playmakers. If you see, you're 8 men in the box, Marcus, check out of it. You don't run the play. I think it's sort of being football players sometimes. And I think that's something that we may see more out of these guys this week, just being football players. Marcus scrambling a little bit more in the pocket, making plays, extending plays with his legs. I think he showed last week that he's healthy enough to move around. And that's something that would really help this team going forward, is that if they were less predictable, if Marcus could extend plays beyond the 3 seconds, I think you get a lot more of those big plays. They missed out on a few Sunday. Decker had 3 drops, and he catches those passes, you probably put up another 10 points. Rashard Matthews had another drop. These are guys that got to help their quarterback out. These are veterans. These aren't rookies. This isn't Corey Davis or Taywan Taylor playing in their first big game. These are guys that have been here before and need to help out their quarterback. So I think this team has a chance to win. I think they have a chance to get blown out of the water. It's based on what team shows up. I think we haven't seen the fullness of the 2017 Titans yet, and the playoffs will be a great time to turn it on, but it's not that easy. And I can't tell you that they are going to turn it on. They can look the same boring team we've always looked, or we could see more of their playmakers coming up. So that's my take, and I'll answer a few of you guys' questions, and I'll head out of here. Let's see. What do you guys got? Decker working on catching passes. He was on the jug. He was on the jug machine. So, I think a vet like Decker, he's going to beat himself up on his rough game, and you hope he comes out better because they're going to play him. They're definitely going to play him. Conklin's, he's their right tackle. He's not moving. Let's see what you guys got. I got about 5 more minutes before I head out. So if you guys want to know something, fire away. I'll probably do a mailbag later this week for a written mailbag. You guys can ask any questions there. How is Henry responding to criticism? I think he's responding well. Like I mentioned earlier, he was more vocal with us than I've seen all season, at least since the first Jacksonville game. He basically, he wasn't sugarcoating it. He said he was playing bad. He was playing soft. And that soft word is a dangerous word. If you call somebody soft, that's like talking about somebody's mama. And for a running back, a big 240-pound running back to call himself soft, I think that's a big nugget, and I think that's something that will give him motivation as he goes into it next week against the Chiefs, who can be run on. So That's my take on Derek, and I think that I think he'll play better. Whether it's enough to win, that's a different conversation. It's hard for me to tell the coaches what works and what doesn't work. Whatever information we have is still incomplete. The coaches all have. Yeah, I mean, that's the element. I always tell you guys, I hate to criticize play calling, and I hate to use that as a crutch because there are so many different elements that we don't often see. Some of it is obvious. Football is not often complicated, but I think a lot of the elements that we don't see kind of are made by people who are in position to do this job. So I think using coaches as a crutch and say they're the reason why this team isn't a Super Bowl team is a lame excuse. Yeah, they probably haven't helped them. They probably haven't put them in a lot of excuses. But, I mean, honestly, Marcus throwing 15 interceptions, all them interceptions not on the coaches. Rashard Matthews dropping passes, Eric Decker dropping passes, that's not on the coaches. Derrick Henry running backwards 13 yards. That's not on the coaches. Some of these are players' errors, and I hate to hear execution as an excuse because it gets old, it gets boring sometimes, but sometimes it is. Sometimes it's the coaches not doing enough to put them in great positions. Sometimes the guys just not making plays. And that's why I thought the Logan Ryan quote and the Delaney Walker quote that I used in my story earlier today were so refreshing because it's easy for the players just to say, "Hey, man, the coaches suck. We ain't gonna be able to do nothing." But I think that, I think that they realize that there's a lot they can do, a lot of plays they can make, and it's up to them to do it basically. And I think that there are playmakers, Delaney Walker, your Rashard Matthews, your Derrick Henrys, your Marcus Mariotas. Those are the guys who are going to win the game for you on the defense end. Your Kevin Byards, your Brian Arakpos, your Jarrell Casey's. Those guys are the guys that are going to make a play for you to win a game. And whatever Terry Rubisky and Mike Mularkey is calling shouldn't and won't have really an impact as far as whether these guys make plays or not. Any plans on another pass catching back? Maybe in the offseason. I think if they don't keep DeMarco Murray, which it may be tough to do given Derrick Henry's status and also DeMarco Murray's injury situation, I think they will add another back and another receiving back to sort of offset Derrick Henry. But this game and how Derrick Henry finishes will be important on how valuable they view that role and whether Derrick Henry can be a 3-down back or whether he needs help from another back to help carry that load. How confident does Marcus look in play calling? I mean, he doesn't really call plays unless he's in the no huddle, and it's more of I think the no huddle looks good. I think that you guys have seen that. Honestly, they didn't do a lot of no huddle last week, but I thought that was the right move. I thought that it was a game against Jacksonville where their running skill set, and although they weren't really effective in it, their ability to win up front is something that gives them an advantage over Jacksonville. So I thought it was smart for them to avoid the no huddles, which increases their chances for turnovers and mistakes, and to slow the game down a bit, playing their style. This week against Chiefs, I think we'll see a little bit more because it's an up-tempo team that likes to throw the ball a little bit more. They're not going to reveal our game plan this week, but I think we'll see more no huddle than we did last week. The Reed supplant McCain and reps. Bryce McCain didn't play at all on defense last week. He had a few special teams reps, but no defensive reps. And, Ty Smith is a guy that played a lot of reps, and I think he surpassed Bryce McCain. I talked to Ty Smith today, and he just talked about opportunity. This is a guy who's in his third year in the NFL, and he's looking like he's going to be a good player. And I think he could be a really good depth player long term for this Titans team. And they had I think that we'll see a lot more of Ty Smith going forward. Kalen Reed, he's looking like he'll be good to go. I think we'll see more of both of those guys coming up. I'm about to head out in a bit. Thanks, guys. Definitely check out my work throughout the week. I'll have another story on Derrick Henry, a story on Kevin Byard. Those will be 3, and I'll keep you updated on DeMarco Murray. Thanks, guys, for watching, and hopefully for y'all's sakes, this won't be the last one. Bye.